Good evening and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for round 11 here at the Spanish Grand Prix. We are back. It is Milan Langer alongside me. My name is Jimmy Morris. And of course, thank you so much, Milan, for taking us through the race at the Canadian Grand Prix. And you're here as well. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. It's a beautiful day, and of course I was on my own last week, but it's good to have you back for Spanish Grand Prix. Canada was quite an eventful race as well. But let's see, we get the same kind of action tonight here in Barcelona, but that's a little bit of a more a trickier circuit, and it's going to be difficult to overtake around here, I think.
Indeed, we saw the Canadian Grand Prix, which was quite chaotic, but it was the two Haasers who were leading. It was Robbie Jacobs and, of course, Eastbrand. But Eastbrand is not here tonight because I think Fabio said he has an internship. So good luck to Eastbrand. He's still the championship leader, but I don't think he can be beaten in this race if Fabio does get 4 points. So Eastbrand can breathe a little bit. Of course, he did miss the Hungarian Grand Prix. No, he missed I think it was the Silverstone Grand Prix because of what happened in Hungary. So this is his third race missed. And I'm surprised because 3 races missing, you would expect the guys like Fireblades and the rest of them to catch up in the championship. But Eastbrand has been so formidable this season. He has done a mega job, and hence why he is the championship leader with a big margin as well. So he won the Canadian Grand Prix because he didn't pick up any penalties last week on Friday, and that was a very good race indeed. As Robbie Jacobs got demoted down, I think, into P4, P5 at the end, and now riding on board with Stefan, unfortunately, who retires in the pit lane. I think he might have a qualifying ban because he did get caught up in an incident last week, I remember, but he crashed out the Grand Prix. Is he going to retire, or let's have a look?
I think he will. I don't know, I'm not sure. He might not, but he's going in for pit lane regardless, so he won't be the first one to start his lap. First one who is going to start his lap are the two Ferraris, so Fireblaze and Mike. And the Fireblaze is on the softs, Mike is on the mediums, and Mike, he was on the mediums in Canada as well, and that's what knocked him out in Q1, so it's quite a bold strategy right now to put on a set of mediums, but it is his banker lap, of course. Still got 15 minutes and plenty of opportunities to still go out on the softs as well. So let's take a look at Fireblaze first, sector 21.7. He's got his teammate right behind him, going quicker actually, 2/10 quicker, might have a little bit of a slipstream as well. So he's right behind his teammate, making his way now through the second sector, turn 5, and now into what could be a very tricky turn 7 and 8 with curbs on the inside and outside, which can very easily throw you off guard. And now into a flat out turn 9, where the curb on the inside can very easily spin your car around, and on the second DRS straight down into the braking zone. What used to be a very sharp hairpin, it's now more of a flowing corner. Still 180 degrees to the other side, and now into the final sector, turn 12. Don't hit the curb on the inside, and that just leaves 2 corners remaining. Flat out, ever since they updated it, they got rid of the old chicane. And now the final corner for Fireblaze, first lap time on the board, will be a 1:11.955, the 4/10 of his teammate.
Mike slots into P2. Of course, he's on the medium compound tyres then. So Mike, like you said, does like to go on the mediums, maybe saving a set of softs for qualifying. As Finn Hertz, who returns, is back towards the top in the kick Sauber. It's 11.6, and last time Finn raced was at the British GP. And we know what happened in Silverstone. Unfortunately, him and Fireblaze, and I think it was Kick at the time, who lagged out the session because 3 people lagged out as F1 Shorts goes into P4. Obviously not a representative lag time, of course, on the Inters. We do like to see some people go on the intermediate tyres in the early stages of Q1, including myself, just to waste a bit of time and let the timer tick down to 0. Well, not 0, obviously, but obviously like when they go for their proper flying laps on the soft compound tyres. But 2 drivers then will be eliminated in qualifying. So let's see which one of these 2. If you're new to Formula 1, of course, the grid, so basically what happens is the top 15, the procedure is the top 15 go through, the bottom 5 get knocked out, but in this case it's only 17 drivers here, so the bottom 2 gets knocked out. In Q2, of course, the top 10 go through, the bottom 5 from P11 to P5 get knocked out, and in Q3 the top 10 go for pole position to see who will start first and second on the grid and have the best opportunity to go down towards turn 1. We're on board now with Ivan in a McLaren, who finished, I think, in P6. He's had some decent results, but Ivan's still looking for his first podium of the season. Here he is with the DRS open. As he crossed the line now, he goes up into P2. It's a big chance for those people because I know Eastbound has taken a lot of wins this season, but somebody new or somebody who has won a Grand Prix before this season can try and get their first win this season as well. So let's see who it is. But in terms of the championship, I think that Fireblaze will be looking really optimistic to try and close that gap down. Same with Eric as well, because they're not too far behind the championship, of course. Of course, Eastbound needs the championship ahead of Fireblaze by 28 points, and I don't think Fireblaze, if he wins, will overtake him. So I think he might be 3 points behind, or something like that. Eric is P3 with 125. Khatikas, yes, I said it right this time. Khatikas is P4 with 110. He's got multiple podiums, including second places, and he's currently P4 without a win this season. Kick is P5, Lucas P6. Both Williams had a strong start to the season when they finished in 1-2 and 1-2 in the sprint race at the Austrian Grand Prix. Robbie Jacobs in P7. He has been very strong recently too, but he picked up a 6-second penalty last week as Finn Hertz has retired knowing he is safe. Mike is P8. His pace fluctuates from time to time. He has ups and downs throughout every single race. You never know with Mike. It's unpredictable sometimes. Ruben, the man that won the Chinese Grand Prix, is P9 in the championship, tied with Ivan in 10th place. And Stefan, who spun at the Belgian Grand Prix after missing out the podium and retiring Canada too, is in P11 in the championship. I'm not going to read the rest of them out because it goes down to P40. But 7 minutes have been passing away, and I think that 5 drivers are still yet to set lap time, including Stefan himself and Kick.
Yep, Stefan, Kick, Mominik, Bushibush and Geitengaas. And Geitengaas, he invalidated his previous lap. And if you have watched the Canadian Grand Prix, you will notice that Geitengaas was really struggling in qualifying to keep his car within the white lines. He eventually did get the job done when he needed to, with only 1 lap in the end. So he was struggling with track limits in Canada. He has been struggling so far in Barcelona with his first lap being invalidated, but he is on another lap right now, down in P17. Stefan, who was invalidated as well in the Alpine, which leaves to Kick and Geitengaas and Roof and Mominik as well. And Mominik had a very good qualifying in Canada. I think he advanced through into the second part of qualifying. And actually his teammate for tonight, Finn Geert, might be one of the strongest teammates you could have for a team that is bottom of the standings with only 4 points. Could jump up massively in the championship if Finn Geert scores good points. As Geitengaas, he goes up to 6th, finally gets a lap time on the board just in the 112s. And we will take a look at the Williams of Kick down in 16th place. His team at 11th on the intermediates. Kick is very much on the soft compound tire. He ran to the line, ran out of ERS, but his lap time will be good enough into the 111s, into P4, and I'm sure that is going to be enough to get him through into the next part of qualifying.
Well, I know that it's not in Eastbound's control. He can't control it. But I've just noticed there is 3 races left this season, including this one. Unbelievable. It's almost towards the end of the season. Now, with Eastbound missing this race and the other 2, it could bite it back. Let's say Fireblaze wins, gets that gap down towards about 3 to 5 points, if I work it out mathematically. So Fireblaze, he needs to win here, try and get as many points as he can before Eastbound comes back in USA Brazil. So this is a big chance for Fireblaze, the man who's second place in the championship, to gain as many points as he can, so he has that momentum heading in towards the final 2 races and put Eastbound under pressure. So obviously Eastbound can't control it. If he was ill or something, then maybe he could have raced, but of course his internship is more important. So I really hope his internship goes well and good luck to what he's doing. But so far, we're focusing now on Q1. So the people in the elimination zone is F1 Shorts. F1 Shorts is back, and he is the one that won the the Belgian Grand Prix. Sorry, what a fantastic race! Because I remember Eastbound was leading, but F1 Shorts pitted at the right time and defended from Eastbound as well, because Eastbound was catching him, but F1 Shorts has done an amazing job. Of course, he's not a full-time driver. He does appear from now to then. But every time he races, he always does something special. Here he comes across the line. It's P13, and I dare say a set of the soft compound tyres is required to get himself safely through, because he's been demoted to P14 now with Lucas, who hit the back of, I think it was Kevin, in the last 2 corners, wasn't he? When he pitted, Lucas hit the back of somebody in the final 2 corners.
Yeah, when he came into the pit lane, he just fully slammed into the back. Didn't think that the cars would not pit, and that was a very unfortunate incident. Not sure if he got a penalty for that, but certainly it wasn't a very clever moment. As Mominik has finest the lap time, he's now in P15. Just now not in the drop zone, but TVHNL has yet to set lap time on the slicks. As Kick has retired, Ruben is retired now as well. Though those are inside the top 7, so I would say it's going to be between the 2 Mercedes. They need to get a move on. F1 Shorts, obviously, he has done his lap on medium. So is Robber, by the way. He's on a P12, so he needs to get a lap in as well. preferably on a set of soft. We have seen before in qualifying that Robert can be very quick on the medium set of tires, but today it doesn't seem to be that it will be enough to get him safely through into the next part of qualifying. He might have to use a set of softs as F1 Shorts will be going back into the pit lane. We've got 7.5 minutes remaining. DVHNL down in 17th place. He's gone out on a set of softs and he's already improving by 0.6 of a second. His best lap was of course on the medium compound tires. Geitenkaas now also retires from the session with a 12.0. He's only 0.7 ahead of Mominik down in P15, but I'm pretty certain that that will be enough for him to get through, as we know that the Saubers has been struggling so far this season, getting themselves out of Q1. But it's only one this time because Finn Geerts, he is well out in P1 at the front of the field. TVHNL makes his way in the second sector. He's improving by 1.7 seconds, and if he does pull that through the end of the lap with a more improvement, he could potentially get himself into the top 15 ahead of Mominik. Let's see what he can do in those final two corners with the tire advantage. DVHNL needs to get himself outside of the danger zone. He crosses the line and he does get into P15 just by a tenth of a second towards Mominik.
TVHNL, who finished in P8 at the Canadian Grand Prix. I know we don't really talk much about him during the races because he does spend a lot of time towards the rear end of the field, but you got to give credit to him because he's done so well recently. His best result was at the Hungarian Grand Prix, finished in P5, and all the chaos erupted around him. He's actually scored quite a few top 10 finishes if it's been 9th or 10th majority of the time. We know he's been struggling on pace, we know he's been struggling to get out of Q1, but at least the consistency is there in terms of constantly finishing races and capitalising if anything goes bad in front of him. As Mominik goes up into P14, he said he qualified P12 last week and he got dropped into P20, I think, towards the end of the first few laps when he was struggling. But he was in P14. Can he get himself out of Q1? We're about to find out. It's a 12.6 plus. He has done that lap on a set of tyres which are 3 laps old. So if he puts on a brand new set, he will have the advantage. But so far, it looks like people on the mediums like Robbie and Mike could be safe, but you never know if Mominik, Shorts, TVHNL and McTimmy down in P17 could find a lap time. McTimmy, the RB driver, is now on a flying lap, headed down towards turn 10 where Yuki Tsunoda, I think, retired. He broke down there, I think at turn 10 in 2021, which ruined his race. As Timmy Boy has joined the session then, so that's 18 drivers, so 4 will be knocked out as there's a massive oversteer, had to counteract it. Lawrence Stroll crashed there, I think, back in 2017, I believe, in the Williams, and now 2019 possibly. No, he's not 2019 because he was in the racing points, so it must have been 2017 or 18. I think it was 2018 actually. Partnered with, he spun. What's going on there? Went on the grass and he spun. Wow, that's very interesting. But yeah, it was 2018 because I remember him being partners with. He's going backwards. Well, he's going to get himself disqualified. He's going to get disqualified, and he's been disqualified, so he doesn't want to go through to Q2.
Why? I don't see why, because yeah, he will be knocked out, and as Lucas is retired as well. So that is well, one strange decision, but it's good news for the Mercedes drivers and Mominik, as it will give them extra chance of getting through into the next part of qualifying. But there is another driver out there who could ruin their party, because Timmy Boy in the Haas has 4.5 minutes remaining to set himself a competitive lap time. Wish DT and Stefan are out on a lap, but Stefan is not improving. I think he's just done a lap actually, he is 6 tenths behind. So Robert down in P12 on the mediums, he's only got 2 tenths towards F1 Shorts, who did his lap time on mediums. So I think he will be going out quite soon as we near the end of the first session. So McTimmy is confirmed to be out of Q1. That leaves just 2 other drivers to be knocked out. Will it be one of the Mercedes? Will it be Mominik? Or can he finally get himself through into Q2 again? We know that his best lap was on a used set of tires, another used set. He just drove 3 laps on them, went for a push lap, a cool down lap, and then another push lap. So he knows he has the tire advantage if he switches on to a new set. But he needs to get the lap in as well. The tire top 5 has retired from the session, and Laurens is back as well. And if he can get a lap time in, then that's surely going to be a dangerous situation for the Mercedes drivers and Mominik.
Wow, Laurens, who had a ding-dong race full of battles, full of incidents back at the Canadian Grand Prix. I remember that one as well. He had a very good race back at the Japanese Grand Prix, fighting with Eastbound on the last lap. F1 Shorts is on the circuit. So, 19 drivers then will be joining this race And what a race that Lawrence had as well, because it was topsy-turvy. He had some really good battles, but unfortunately he picked up a penalty on the first lap of the first lap of the Canadian Grand Prix. After he was side by side as F1 Shorts just drifted off the track there. So Nico Hulkenberg, I think, crashed back in 2019 when George Russell spun as well in qualified in the hairpin. Because I remember when Russell spun, Hulkenberg was on the scene with a broken front wing. But here we are then as we head down towards turn 6 and turn 7. Nikita Mazepin as well, I think he spun through here, and Nicholas Latifi. And turn 9 as well, where Pierre Gasly spun here and crashed in 2019 in pre-season testing. And Heikki Kovalainen back in 2008 when I think his suspension failed or he had a puncture and crashed heavily into the wall as well. We've not really seen many people hit the wall at turn 9, surprisingly. But if you do touch the outside glass, you will spin off, as Pierre Gasly and the Kiwi of Brendan Hartley in the Toro Rosso back then. But on board with the man who won the Belgian Grand Prix, heading towards the final corner, using the curb on the inside. The DRS then is wide open for F1 Shorts as we kick-start a lap here. F1 Shorts is on the cusp of elimination. He's currently P15. Let's see what happens going down towards turn 1. Braking just before the 50-meter ball. Carrying the speed through. Look at that. Oh, oversteered there as he lost the balance in turn 1. He's backed off, but he's still got the time as Bushy has retired from the session. We haven't really talked about him so far this session, but currently P9, and he did appear at the Canadian Grand Prix last week as well. So F1 Shorts has got the time. Well, his best lap time is on the medium compound tyres, isn't it? So he definitely can find about 2-3 tenths to get himself into Q2, but it's all about hooking it up. Maybe the pressure could be getting to him. He did say in the chat that he said he's so bad, but I don't think that's the case. I think he just needs to try and just get that banker lap in.
Indeed, but the pressure will get to him because he will know that he is only one shot remaining in this qualifying session. And he also knows that there's quicker drivers behind him who are on a lap. One of them is Team Boy, but just had a big moment through turn 8 on the exit. Lost the back end a little bit, but he is still pushing on this lap. He's got 1 minute remaining. This is his one and only flying lap in this qualifying session to get him through into the next part of qualifying, struggling with the rear end of the car, constantly trying to step out underneath of his Haas. Doesn't have the best preparation, of course, in this qualifying session. But he knows he's only got 1 lap behind him. Lawrence as well has just started his lap. We'll take a look at what he can do at the end of this qualifying session. But Timmy Boy runs the line. Is it going to be good enough to get him through into Q2? It is, for now at least. P14. But he's, 1.5 tenths ahead of Moby Nick, who has just started his lap. But if Lawrence keeps within the track limits, which he doesn't, Lawrence will be out of qualifying.
Ah, what a shame for Lawrence there. Unfortunately, he is teammates, of course, with Hazara in PSGLF 2. And it has been quite a difficult season for Lawrence so far as he goes off to the wall and crashes those spins. But yeah, Lawrence, we know he's a very quick driver, so I'll be interested to see what he could do now. TVHNL, the man that usually struggles to get a Q1, here he is, around turn 10 he goes. Can he get himself inside the top 15? Can he demote Mummy Nick after his best qualifying at the Canadian Grand Prix last week? Here comes TVHNL around the final corner. Let's see what the Dutchman could do as he crosses the line. He does! Ooh. He puts himself into P12. Nice, decent lap time there for TVHNL. I dare say he's safe. Where's Timmy Boy? Or Timmy Boy, sorry. As Mike goes quickest with 11.6. But Timmy Boy is not a flying lap. Where's F1 Shorts? He crossed the line right now as he goes up into P5. As he finally gets a lap on the board. Where's the Kick Saber? Oh, Mummy Nick. He is 2 tenths up. This 2 tenths could throw out Octavia into Q1 as you watch the Saber driver make his way towards the final corner, use the battery. Let's see, can he get himself into Q2? The answer is yes! Yes, he's done it! Up into P12 goes Mummy Nick, and he'll be very happy about that one indeed.
Yes, once again through into the next part of qualifying. That leaves Robert down in P15, very close to getting knocked out. He's going to go back into the pit lane. I saw that he was on an improvement on this lap, so if he continued on, he probably would have got well inside the top 6 maybe with that lap, but only P15 in the end. Just about got through, but he did have to use another set of soft compound tires, even though he didn't have to improve in the end. He had to go out there to make sure that he didn't get knocked out, but that leaves 4 drivers knocked out in Q1. Octavia, Timmy Boy and Lawrence, who joined very late. Lawrence couldn't set a lap time as he invalidated his one and only run, and McTimmy, who for some reason decided this race, this track is more fun in reverse. He has been disqualified from the session, so 4 drivers knocked out, the other 15 advanced through into the next part of qualifying.
It's not 25 yet, just mid to me, so on the wrong game, mate. But think about the future. very happy about that. But anyways, 4 drivers have been knocked out, which are Octavia, before the results come up. There we go then. Look at all these Dutchies in the chat. There's loads of them. And Octavia, Timmy Boy, Lawrence, and Timmy have all been eliminated from Q1. And Timmy has been disqualified from Q1, which means he starts on the back of the field. Not quite sure what tactics he's going for, but we'll see as the Visa Cash Out Red Bull or Racing Bulls is out of the session. But 2 of the biggest surprises for me. Lawrence, no, sorry, Robbie didn't get knocked out. I was so confused, so he didn't. I was thinking about 5 drivers getting knocked out. That's why I counted Robbie in. So my apologies, Robbie. He didn't get knocked out, so my bad there. But yes, 4 drivers have been knocked out, which is Octavia, Timmy Boy, Lawrence, and Timmy. Of course, Lawrence is the biggest surprise for me, but I'm pretty sure he'll have the pace to come back through. As F1 Short says, what did he say? Made it through to Q2, my first no-assist race. Well, if it's your first no-assist race, good luck to you, F1 Shorts. I wish you the best. It can be a bit difficult, but I remember doing no-assist around here in Spain about 2-3 years ago, and it didn't go well at all. And I was all right, but every time I was on my own, I had to so basically, when you're behind somebody, it's easier with no assist because you can judge when they're braking, etc. You can follow their racing lines. But when you're on your own, it can be a bit difficult when you're learning no assist because you've got to have your own reference points. You've got to turn in, know where to turn in, how much speed you can carry, know where to go on the brakes, etc. But when you're behind somebody, it's a little bit easier because you have them as a reference point in terms of yourself, where you have to create your own reference points and know when to brake, know when to accelerate and turn, etc. So good luck to you, mate, and see what you can do. But it is Q2 then, as we all know. The main aim is to get yourself inside the top 10, ready for the shootouts. But people who struggle to get to Q3, I don't want to point out names, but I'm going to do anyway. So keep an eye on the people like TVHNL, Mum and Nick. In fact, all these guys got capabilities to get themselves to Q3. It's just all about it's all about hooking up the lap time, making sure you don't invalidate as well. So I think the 2 people I'm interested about in this qualified session is TVHNL, Mum and Nick, and Bushy Bush TT in P12 there. So there's the 3 people I'm interested in, see if we can get themselves to Q3, because they're the outliers. They're the people who usually struggle to get to Q3, like, for example, a Williams sometimes, or a Kick Sauber might struggle to get to Q3 in real life. So keep an eye on those 3, and we'll see how those 3 progress.
Indeed, wouldn't want to write them off, but I think they would be most vulnerable of getting knocked out in this session. But anything can happen. Just have to, it only can be one mistake, ruining your entire qualifying session in the final dying minutes of qualifying. But we have just started Q2, almost everyone is out there on track. And Lucas is going to be the first one to attempt to set a lap time. He's got the Kick Sauber of Vingegaard right behind. Look at the train here in the final sector. It's very busy out there. Through turn 12, that is. But we're right on board with the Williams driver, as he is going to start his first flying lap in Q2. And he's going to make his way down into the chicane of turns 1 and 2. We can really cut the track, but don't cut too much. You might get yourself a track damage. Now flat out through turn 3 and keep it as tight as possible to the inside line to reduce the amount of time. And 21.5 is a decent first sector. Now into the braking zone of turn 4. And on the exit, have to be careful by applying throttle down the braking zone of turn 5. You can really throw the car in with brake bites as well. And on the exit, have to keep it in the white lines, which was Laurens unable to do on his flying lap. There is where he lost his chance of getting through into the next part of qualifying, as he runs a little bit wide on the exit there of turn 8, hit the sausage curb. Now through turn 9, very nice on the inside, and opening the DRS and deploying almost all of his ERS into the final sector now on the inside, just missing the inside curb. Look how tight that was with sausage curbs on the inside. Now into turn 12, very close to the inside curb as well on the exit. As soon as possible, applying the power now. 2 corners remaining, both of them flat out, deploying all the ERS he has. And it will be a run to line very close to the inside wall. He's going to run out too wide. No, he isn't. Run to line at 1:11.814 will be the first lap time. He immediately gets beaten by the Sauber of Vingegaard with a 1:11.5. And I can imagine that some of these drivers will be on a used set, as Robbe goes fastest, P15 in Q1, and he's at the top of times now in Q2 with a 1:11.5.
There are four cars in close proximity of each other. That's very close indeed. So I'm surprised all of them managed to make it through unscathed there or get each other's way. So Robbie Jacobs is on pole. with 11.559 ahead of Finn Hertz by only a few hundredths of a second, then by 400ths or 400ths of a second as I try to get my mathematics right on that one. So Fabre goes up into P3 in at the Ferrari, the man that scored a podium back in the Canadian Grand Prix. He missed out, he was 5-2 with both Hasses at that time, plus he was on older tyres, so therefore Kevin managed to get him on newer tyres because I think they pitted quite early during the safety car, but whereas other people stayed out, of course, because that's not a professional strategy, as it was a bit too early to pit, but other people made the call. Then there was a second safety car during that Grand Prix due to the man that caused it down in P5. It was Stefan, and Stefan is right behind Ivan as well. So these two, Stefan and Ivan, I'm supposed to commentate with in the near future, so I'm very excited indeed to see how I get along with those two. And on the track so far, they're close together. Hopefully no contact is made as they make their way back in the pit lanes as they finish their first runs. So in the pit lane they go. TVHNL, AMS Kick, and Mummy Nick cross the line right now. Let's see what he can do right now. Goes into P12. So that's his best qualifying result of the season. TVHNL is headed back in the pit lane, so he must have made a mistake somewhere on that lap. AMS Kick is headed down towards turn 5, of course, where we saw Valtteri Bottas spin in 2019, I presume, in the practice sessions, because I think he qualified a pole. Yes, he did. He qualified pole as well on that day by 0.6 of a second, because I watched Milan Langer's YouTube video on that day as well. Here comes Kick towards turn 9. You can definitely tap subscribe and like, because I watched that video of yours posted up a few days ago. The Kick is headed down towards turn 10. That's good information I used today. But he's headed down towards turn 10, locks up, goes wide, and has a massive moment out of turn 10. So he's fighting with the rear end of the car as we make our way down towards turn 11. Just being very patient on the throttle. Of course, you don't want to take that inside curve. It's like turn 6 at Hungary. Keep off the curbs. Coming towards the final corner we go now. Instant gear deployment is used as he makes his way towards the finish line. It's going to be 11.9. Bit concerning. He's down to P8, so he's on the cusp of elimination, and he needs to improve desperately to try and get himself securely through further up the top 10.
Indeed, he's P8. He's only 4 tenths behind Robbe, but it's very close between the top 10. Half a second separating them. And Geitegaas down in P14 once again seems to be struggling with his initial lap in qualifying. We've seen it in Q1, now in Q2 as well, just like last week in Canada. Just couldn't hook the lap together, and he will have to try again later on in this session as Kick finds himself in the gravel trap at the exit of turn 4. But he's going back into the pit lane, but he definitely is not going to be safe. I would assume Robbe and Finn Geerts and Fireblaze, probably Ivan, they will all be safe to advance through into the next part of qualifying. We can never be too sure because the gaps are quite narrow. Entire top 13 within 1 second of each other, and only one man out there who still needs his lap time, which is TVHNL in the Mercedes. He's down in P15 right now as Finn Geerts is going back out there. Surprisingly enough, he doesn't need to, I think, because 11.5 will surely be enough to get him through into Q3, but he's out there regardless. And so is Ivan and Lucas and Eric all going out quite early for their second runs, as Kick is driving very slowly at the end of the second sector. He's got a McLaren right behind him, but yeah, Mominik, not a surprise that he's down there currently in the drop zone. Nor is TVHNL, though we haven't seen a lap time from him just yet. And just like you said, Bushy Boost TT is down there in P12 as well. If he does find an improvement, he could potentially get him through into the final part of qualifying. But it is going to be quite difficult. And F1 Shorts, currently missing out by less than a tenth of a second. Can he find an improvement after missing so many races and returning back tonight? Can he get through into the final part of qualifying?
I know F1 Shorts is in multiple league races. I've got him on TikTok, and his videos are very funny when he rages as well. I remember the Austrian Grand Prix when somebody's put in front of him, and Ivan's down by a tenth the first set. Ivan is on a used set of soft compound tyres, so he hasn't got a brand new set. But Finn Geerts has chosen a brand new set of the soft compound tyres, which is very interesting. So he's using one brand new set in disposal allocation, despite making it through, I dare say, safely, because that is a mega lap time indeed with 11.5. Ivan, a bit of a moment out of turn 6 and turn 7, but it doesn't really matter because he has already completed a lap on the same set of tyres. He's a 10th down in the middle sector, probably just trying to get a feel for the car, maybe just doing more laps, trying to get comfortable, knowing where the limit is as well. So when it comes to Q3, he has the reference points. It's fresh in his mind. I could go for it again. It's all about muscle memory as well. As here comes Ivan around the final corner. I don't expect him to improve, but if he does, that'll be a mega improvement as he now opens the DRS. He crosses the line. He does improve by a few hundredths of a second. So a 10th down in the first sector, a 10th down in the middle, but found a time in the last sector as Lucas goes quickest with 11.4. What a mega lap time for Lucas. He needed that indeed because he was lingering around the danger zone. Kick is in the pits. Kick has a validated, so this is going to be difficult for him as Finn Hertz retakes first place as Eric goes up into P2 in the Aston Martin. We know Eric's got some good pace, and I remember him retiring at the Japanese Grand Prix, unfortunately, after spinning, I think, at Spoon. So Eric had some bad races recently, and I think he finished the podium as well at the Canadian Grand Prix, but it was post-race penalties applied because a lot of changes were made from the pre-race classifications to the post-race, and I think he finished the podium. He did. He finished in P3 ahead of Robbie Jacobs because Kick took P2, but got demoted off the podium, unfortunately.
Indeed, interesting strategy, I must say, by Fireblaze. He's on his second lap, and now he's on a set of intermediate, so not sure what the plan is for that in Q2 on your second lap. He's going straight back into the pit, and his teammate Mike has crossed the line with a big improvement, and he's up into P3 with 111.4. So Mike, actually, after poor qualifying last week, seems to bounce back and hopefully get himself through into Q3. He's quite close to Finn Geerts and Erik, so it's hopeful for him to reach that final part of qualifying. We've got 5.5 minutes remaining. F1 Shorts is out there in P11, but he's trying to improve on this lap. Let's see if he can do so as he's making his way into the second sector. Opening DRS, and he's put almost all of his ERS already. And is he improving? Yes, he is, by almost 0.3 of a second, which could put him into P8, but that's just how close it is between the entire top 8 or the top 7, 3.5 tenths of each other. So if F1 Shorts, he needs to find at least 5 tenths, I would say, to be quite safe of getting through into the final part of qualifying. Yes, a bit of a moment through the final sector, was a bit of desync actually. As he crosses the line, he does go into P6, and he does find 5 tenths of a second, but he is only 100th of a second ahead of Evan and 200th ahead of Fireblaze, so it's just very, very close. And it's going to be all about those last few minutes of qualifying. Kick now finds himself in P10, at the brink of dropping out in Q2. He's out on lap, and he will try to improve soon as well.
I think I saw Ruben down at turn 2 and turn 3. On the full map, he was stationary, so I'm not quite sure if he went for a lap time, then had a bit of a spin out of turn 2 and turn 3. So Ruben, on the back foot, after he was racing the Canadian Grand Prix, had a bit of a quiet race for him. Finished outside the top 10 after watching the chaos erupt involved him. But Kick, unfortunately, hasn't got a win this season just yet, has the Williams driver. His teammate has twice, one in the sprint race in Austria, the other one at the very first race of the season, defending from Cyclo. But here comes Kick now. This is a very important lap time for the Williams. The Dutchman makes his way down towards turn 1, looking at the breaking point, which is above before the 50-meter board. You can see the grey area on the side of the track there as we head down towards turn 3. That's before turn of board, so that's the reference point where it's just a bit of a grey patch there. But now we're making our way down towards turn 4 we go, and looking for the 50-meter board, braking and turning at the same time, carry the speed through, bring it over to the left-hand side, then bring it back over the right as soon as the car straightened up. Braking once again into this slow speed corner turn at number 5, I believe it is. The back of the throttle immediately using all the track available to you on the outside. Doesn't really go for a cute line, he goes for the middle of the road in towards turn 6 and turn 7. It can be very difficult, especially turn 7, because these sausage curves are there, going a bit deep, and you find yourself off the track. And here comes Kick then with the DRS and the battery and tow behind his teammate. Lucas pulls off the side, and Kick is 1.5 tenths up. But this is not enough still from Kick, so it looks like he's struggling out there here in qualifying as he makes his way now towards turn number 11. Here we go, a bit of a moment going on there in towards the final few corners then of this racetrack as he flicks his way into full throttle on the final corner. Kick with the DRS open. Can he get himself up the order? He can, by 5 places. Kick is right behind his teammate, and he improved by only a tenth there, I think. But still, a tenth is enough to put yourself up the order. That's how close it is here in qualifying. So 1 or 2 tenths can catapult you so up the order.
Good improvement in the final sector especially. So let's hope it's that safe. He is ahead of Robber, by the way, and Robber has retired from the session, so I wouldn't be too certain if I was Robber of getting through into the final part of qualifying, because the gap towards Stefan is only 2 tenths of a second. But then again, there is drivers behind who need to improve. One of them is Geitekaas. He's down in P15 still. We have 2 minutes to go. He's on his out lap, and he needs to improve, and he knows it. Just like he had in Canada, where he had to leave it on his final run to improve and get himself into the next part of qualifying. It's the same scenario here right now in Barcelona. We'll take a look at him in a few moments' time. If he can find an improvement, he needs to find a good lap time, or else he will be out in Q2. The same for the other 4 drivers in the drop zone. Ruben, who is still in pit lane, but just going out right now with 1 minute 40 seconds on the clock. Bush TT, Mominik and TVHNL, they will need to hope for a miracle of a lap to get themselves through into the final part of qualifying, but who knows if they can find so much time. Geitengaas makes his way into the final sector, preparing ultimately for what would be his final flying lap. Only 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock. This is the lap he needs to get through into Q2. Let's take a look on board with the Visa Cash of RB driver, who's yet to take a win this season. He's been close on multiple occasions, but not quite close enough to get that win. Let's see what can he do around the track like Barcelona as he makes his way into turn 1. Nice and easy on the inside, hugs the inside curb on both turns 1 and 2. Now flat out to turn 3, keeps it nice and tight to the inside as well. He needs to find a good improvement here, and most importantly, he needs to keep it within the white lines. If he does that, I think he should be safe. He's up by 1.5 tenths through sector 1, where I can imagine that he backed off on his lap, in his first lap in sector 2 or sector 3, so that's probably where he can gain the most time, as he doesn't, well, risk it with the track limits on the exit, very close to the white line out through turns 7 and 8. Keeps it nice and tidy now into turn 9, fell out with the inside curb and opening the DRS on the back straight. And he will now take his braking zone down into turn 11. 2.3 seconds up on his time, which at the moment would put him in P11. But I reckon he can find some more time in the final sector as well. It's all or nothing for Geitengaas. He needs to get a move on. He's down in P15, 1 corner to go for the Harvey driver. He doesn't play it safe with track limits on the entry of the final corner. Across the line and go. Is it going to be enough? No!
No!
He misses out. Geitengaas is out by 12 thousandths of a second. And it's a big shock in qualifying.
Oh, Geitengaas unfortunately out of qualifying as Lucas goes up into P4. F1 shorts in P5 in the Mercedes as Mike and Lucas are on the intermediate then, so they know they're safe for the time being. But it's down to Ruben, it's down to TVHNL. Which one of these two can knock out Stefan? Stefan is on the brink of elimination. I believe Stefan is not on a lap time, so it's down to Ruben. He is 4 tenths up in the first sector. Has to be a moment out of turn 11 we go. Also hesitant with the steering there as well. Multiple flicks and multiple hesitation going on the steering wheel there. But here goes Ruben now towards the line. Can he get himself inside the top 10? He can only just, as Fireblaze towards the end of qualifying puts his Ferrari into P2. Nobody defeating Finn Hertz. But the people out of Q2 is Stefan, Goacheese, Bushy Porsche TT, TVHNL, and Mummy Nick in P15 there. So I told you to keep an eye on the 3 guys I talked about. They're 13th, 14th, 15th, unfortunately.
Indeed, but the big shock out there in Q2 is Geitengaas, who is always a contender for pole position here this season, but now he finds himself out in the second part of qualifying. He will be starting no higher than 12 on the grid, missing out by under a tenth of a second to Ruben, who also found an improvement in the final part of qualifying. But Finn Geerts is on top, and he seems to be the man to beat for a pole position. He's just under a tenth ahead of both Fireblaze and Erik, who are separated by a thousandth of a second. But look at 4 drivers in the 111.4s and 3 more in the 111.5s. It's all very, very tight. And it's going to be like between probably 8 drivers for a pole position. This is going to be a very entertaining final part of qualifying.
Oh, poor Geitengaas there. Hasn't been knocked out in Q2 for a while. I think it was like the Belgian Grand Prix he was knocked out, or I think it was a few rounds ago. But yes, I remember Eastbound as well getting knocked out, I think, at the Belgian Grand Prix. They're finishing back in P2. But what a shame for Geitengaas in P5. The man who's still looking for his first win of the season, but seems to be so far away. But here in Spain, it might be a bit difficult from start to P11 of the grid. So there are your top 10, and that is a very competitive top 10 indeed. All these guys have experience, been on the podium, had wins before, even if it was seasons ago. But this is going to be a very interesting qualifying. Finn Hertz returning. He was a full-time driver. I remember back in Australia as well, we were fighting for a podium, but I think he dropped down to reserve after other commitments. But he is the only PC player here as well, hence why cross-play has been enabled. But it shouldn't be a problem, although back in the Silverstone Grand Prix it was, after 3 people disconnected. And those 3 people were in the DRS train. as well for the race win. And F1 Short says, I think I'm already similar pace with no line. So F1 Short is a quick adapter, and luckily for him, he's able to have the same pace, more or less, than his original assist. I think he used racing line. I think he only used racing line because I know he's running no TC. I know he's running no line. No ABS. So I think he just finally had the confidence to turn off line, and now he's running no assist fully then. So the Kick Sauber have been struggling a lot this season. I remember them at the back of the field at the Canadian Grand Prix. Mummy Nick and whoever else is his teammate Ticey as well. Ticey has been really struggling this season. So both Kick Saubers have struggled, but they've had some good moments when they finished in the top 10 on the one occasion as well. But sometimes you need those races where something happens in front of you and capitalise, like Nico Hulkenberg did back in Australia when, of course, Sauber were in no position to score points until a lot of things changed and happened. So on board with the champion for last season, it is Finn Hertz. Sorry, it is Kick who's the champion for last season. Finn Hertz then makes his way down towards turn 1 then, with the DRS wide open as we ride on board with the Kick Sauber then as he approaches turn number 1, clipping the apex into towards turn 1 and turn 2, right the curb in turn 2 is well. You really want to take a lot of curb towards turn 2, not as much as turn 1, otherwise your car will be thrown off balance. As now he takes the tightest line through turn 2, heading towards this right hand we go, hits the apex nicely, drifting out wide on the exit, getting close to the grass as you possibly can, of course, without touching it. As we head down towards turn 5 then, lock up on the entry, utilises all of the track on the outside, headed towards turn 6 and turn 7. This left right hander, which can be quite difficult. We've seen a lot of people get caught out in the past, including myself, but nice uses there. He did take the sausage curve on the outside as he places the car at the right time as well. As we head down towards turn 10 we go. Can he make the apex? He can, as we just be patient on the throttle then before we get to full traction. Heading towards this right hander we go. Remember Nick de Vries spun there. I think he qualified in 2023 when the track was drying up. As we head down towards the final 2 corners we go. Duct Tape Julian is in the chat. Welcome, mate. Huchatet. As Finn Hertz is making his way now towards the line. It's going to be 11.2. And he takes pole. And I think that's his quickest time so far of the session in comparison to all 3 qualifiers. Just behind is a Williams, I think, starting a flying lap time. Mercedes is off the track, so unsure what happened to him. Fireblaze is next across the line in the Ferrari. He's got Robbie Jacobs right behind him. A very good contender indeed. As he makes his way now towards the final corner, here you go. Fireblaze goes up into P2, obviously, as Robbie Jacobs slots into P3. Eric P4 with 11.4. There's a Red Bull and Ruben making his way towards the line. He goes up into P5 with an 11.7. And we've got a few people diving off the pit lane.
I was riding on board with Robbie Jacobs during his lap, and into turn 9, he was right behind the Mercedes of F1 Shorts and actually got so close behind that he pushed basically the Mercedes out of the way in turn 9. So I think Robbe has some time to find on his lap, so he should be able to go a little bit quicker and probably still be in contention for pole position. But the 1:11.3 regardless is a very good lap. So that leaves the 2 Williams drivers to try and improve. Well, Lucas won't be setting a lap time because he has invalidated, I think. That must be on the final corner because he invalidates this lap as well. He's going to try and push for a lap regardless. Kick, he is on a lap and he is navigating his way into the final sector. So Mike was on the intermediates. I think that was because he wanted to give his teammates slipstream, just like we saw in Q2. So that should be the reason why. As Kick makes his way out of the final corner, what can he do is cross the line in 1:11.7. Puts him in P6. Could be on a used set of soft tires. Yeah, don't know for sure. But he is right now in P7 just ahead of Van by a few hundredths of a second. Lucas is on a lap, but he has invalidated Mike and F1 Shorts yet to set their lap time. But Finn Geerts, once again, is the man to beat. And the gap this time is 1.5 tenths to the next car behind him, Fireblaze.
Yeah, Fireblaze and Finn Hertz, former teammates, back in the Ferrari. It was Ferrari versus Williams last season. I do believe Ferrari won the championship, but Williams had the upper hand in terms of Kick being the champion. It was a very chaotic race back at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It looked like it was going to go Fireblaze's way until the safety car came out. I do remember that race as well. That was a chaotic race. But the championship ended in Abu Dhabi. But I don't think I was there for Abu Dhabi because I think I just joined the league and I was trying to get settled in. But we are here full time, and thankfully I've got a great driver, a great person and driver alongside me, which is Milan. And I think we've turned up, except me. I think I missed one race. I think we turned up to every single race this season, barring Canada for me. As last week on Friday, I had a very good time indeed. But I'd rather be here. I'd rather be here commentating with you, Milan, on a Friday night here in SDN. I'm not even lying either. I'm telling the truth.
I do enjoy doing this as well, and we missed Monza as well due to some circumstances. But for the rest of them, we have attended every single race this season, and we're here once again tonight, and hope to finish the season as well. So Lucas, he's on a lap still, but I don't think he's got any fuel left to go for it. So Mike now, he is going to be the only one to attempt a lap time. Presumably it might be his only lap time of the session with only 6 minutes to go. We might just go out near the end of the session, but let's take a look on board with the Ferrari driver. His teammate finds himself on the front row, but Mike, we have seen, he has been quite quick, just like he was in Q2. I think he was in the top 3. Not sure he was until the end, but he certainly was looking rather quickly as he's making away, but he doesn't quite hit the apex of turn 5, locking up the inside as well, running a bit wide on the exit. Now into turn 7 and 8 with Ferrari on the exit, doesn't hit the sausage curb on the exit. Now into turn 9, flat out with the Ferrari, doesn't hit the inside curb actually, which we see most drivers do. It's already ran out of ERS, so that's not ideal for the final part of the lap. Now into the braking zone of turn 10, lock up the inside as well, but keeping it nice and tidy into turn number 12. So that's only these 2 corners remaining on this track. Mike currently set down in P9 without a lap time. Can he get anywhere close to his teammate Fireblaze? Let's see what he can do as he comes out of the final corner, deploying ERS, which he doesn't even have. But he crosses the line. P5 it is. Good lap regardless. 111.5, just ahead of Ruben and just behind Eric. So 5 minutes to go. And that same Eric is on a lap now as well. And he's improving by 16 thousandths of a second in Sector 1.
Eric, who has been looking very competitive this season, even though that Heitekas has a lot of podiums this season, Eric has been there all the time as well. Eric has been a real contender. On the entry towards turn 6, just turned in very sharply there. Unfortunately, has invalidated to that lap time then, so that is lap time done and dusted. Robbie Jacobs is on a lap, but he's a 10th down in the first sector. So, did he make a mistake in turn 1 and turn 2? Possibly. Turn 3 should be easy because it is flat out. But as for Grosjean in the Haas, when he spun the car around at turn 3, took out Pierre Gasly, took out Nico Hulkenberg during the Grand Prix as well. So they were very annoyed as well because that was a very silly thing from Romain Grosjean when he spun the car, made a cloud of smoke, and therefore Gasly and Hulkenberg in Renault and Toro Rosso had nowhere to go at all, and they ruined their race. But Robbie Jacobs found time though, but what should he do? Should he come back in the pit lane? Does he have another set of soft compound tyres? Because there's a lot of times we found, judging from the evidence, he was down the first sector by a 10th and found it in the middle sector by a few hundreds. But is he going to get in the pit lane? No, he's not. Here he is. Towards the final corner we go. Is this going to be improvement for Robbie Jacobs? As he crossed the line right now, he goes up into P2, despite losing time in the first sector by a 10th of a second. And he had no choice but to continue with that lap time because he didn't have another lap in him because the fuel is about to run out. So that was his only lap time, and I presume he doesn't have a set of soft compound tyres left in his disposal. Otherwise, he probably would have pitted that lap, do you think?
Yeah, there was so much more in this lap. I was running on board with him throughout the entire lap. Had a few mistakes, not only in Sector 1 where he lost 1.5 tenths on his first final lap, but also into this turn of turn 5 and 7 and 8. The car was sliding around as well, so definitely not his full potential on this lap. I think he can get back into the pit lane in time, but would it be enough time to go back out there? It's going to be very tight with only 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in this session. I don't think he's going to be able to do another lap after this one, so he is locked in second place right now, but there's going to be, well, 8 drivers behind him trying to improve and steal that second place away from him. But can anyone steal away that pole position from Finn Geerts, who's out on a lap now as well? Still has a set of tires remaining. But Robbie Jacobs will be going back into the pit lane. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's going to be very close, but he might just be able to get back out there. But that's going to be a very quick outlap for him. Speaking of outlaps, the 2 Williams drivers, Kik and Lucas. Lucas unable to set a lap time just yet as he invalidates his first run. And just ahead of these drivers is a van in the McLaren. He's currently half a second down on Finn Geerts on pole position, but he improved by just a few hundredths. He will already find himself 2 positions ahead in P6. So let's take a look at the McLaren. There's a car ahead coming out of the pit lane. Won't get held up into turn 1. That's Eric, and he backs off on his lap. So surprising decision, but he will be able to try again next lap.
I'm on board with F1 Shorts. He's headed down towards turn 5. He
Whoa.
almost spun the car on the exit because turn 5 he used a lot of curve there, so that's just a misjudgment unfortunately for F1 Shorts as he backs off and turns off his ERS. So the next lap will be his last lap, and we'll see can he improve. Lucas is purple in the first sector. Here he is then as he heads down towards turn 5. Can Williams find any form? Because last race of the Canadian Grand Prix, it went totally wrong for Williams, even though Kick did finish in P2. But strategy-wise, Kick did not have a 3-second penalty. I think Lucas was out of the Grand Prix, or he finished out of the top 10 due to the strategy calls. Wasn't going their way at all, because I remember they started on the medium compound tyres. An early safety car came out, and unfortunately didn't benefit them at all, as F1 Shorts cost the lines going to P9. A bit of a moment for Lucas there. So both Williams looking very twitchy in some certain parts of the track. Both of them have had their struggles so far, but here comes the two AMS boys, Lucas and Kick, as we head towards the final corner. He goes, a bit of a mess up there, but now he crossed the line, and he goes up into P4 then, so he lost a bit of time in that final corner, took way too much curb, as Finn Hertz goes quickest. It's an 11.0 from the Sauber driver. He extends his margin by 0.3 of a second. What a mega lap time, sensational there. Unbelievable stuff indeed then. F1 Shorts is the next one to cross the line. He made a mistake at turn 5. He makes another mistake at turn 6, but he keeps it pointing in the right direction. But it might be a bit difficult now. There he is with the DRS wide open out of turn 9. Going down towards turn 10 he goes. He's up by 2.5 seconds obviously, because his best lap time is a 14.9. So here we are then, heading down towards the 11. There's a red ball off the track. I believe that was Ruben on the track map. I saw somebody out of sync on the track. But here we are out of turn 13 and 14 then. We make our way towards the final corner we go. He downshifted to 6th gear there, didn't take the right angle. As he makes his way towards the line, he goes or stays into P10. A bit of a scruffy end to his qualifying lap there, especially down in the final corner, but he turned it a bit too early. But here comes the van in the McLaren. Let's see what the Dutchie could do as he makes his way around the final corner. He goes, DRS open, he crossed the line now. He goes up into P5. Great lap time. It is super close between all these drivers. Here is Kick. Kick invalidates on the exit.
Kick then only P9. Eric is about to cross the line. He stays only 6 fastest. Mike into the pit lane as well, and that is going to be the end of qualifying. And a surprise for Robert, he's still in second place after all of that, by just 0.02 of a second to Fireblaze, but he didn't need to improve on his final lap. But what a dominant pole position there by Finn. It's almost 0.3 of a second clear of anyone out there, just ahead of Robert. Fireblaze, we saw. Yeah, no problem. We saw quite a few drivers having some trouble on their final flying laps. We saw Ruben going off in turn 9. He took the escape road, which invalidated his lap as well. And Mike, he invalidated his lap. So neither of them were able to improve. So was Kick. And F1 Shorts had a moment on his lap as well. So quite a few mistakes in the dying moments of this qualifying session. But the same can't be said for this man in the Kick Sauber AMS, Finn Geerts, on pole position by quite a distance ahead of Robbe. Fireblaze will line up in P3, which is going to be a good position for him because he needs to score as many points as he can to close the gap towards Eastbrand in the championship, who's not here tonight. He's 28 points behind, could get a maximum of 26 and get very close behind in the championship. But it's not going to be an easy task to just win this race, because Finn Geerts has been looking mighty quick so far in qualifying, but will he be able to turn it into a quick race pace as well? That's going to be the question. But one thing is for sure, he is going to be on pole position by 0.3 of a second.
He is indeed dead. So Finn Geerts on pole ahead of Robbie Jacobs in P2. Fireblaze separates him and Robbie Jacobs by 0.3 of a second. Look at that. 1,000 between Lucas and Ivan. And Eric is also 0.3 back, almost 0.4. Mike is P7 and Ruben P8, AMS Kick P9, and F1 Shorts is P10. As he said in the chat, Ivan talked under my braking, unfortunately. So you might want to tell Ivan to how you're back whilst you're on your flying lap or in the race, but unfortunately we reach your lap then, as Ivan does start ahead of F1 Shorts. But it's going to be an interesting race. We know that pole sometimes isn't always the best place to be, because it's a long drag down towards turn number 1. Ask Lewis Hamilton back in 2022 when I think Max Verstappen went down the inside towards turn one. But Lewis Hamilton still won the Grand Prix because I did believe he did a two-sort of strategy during that race. You want to cover the inside line as much as you can because that's what Charles Leclerc did on Max Verstappen in 2022 when he managed to cover him off. But in 2024, last season, when Lando Norris took pole, he was in the middle and George Russell swept around the outside in towards turn number one. So it's a bit precarious where you are in terms of defending. You need a really good launch, obviously, but it's all about where the drivers behind are. If they can get a good launch around the outside and towards turn one, Max Verstappen did a great job to cover off Charles Leclerc because Leclerc started second in Spain. He could have gone around the outside, but Verstappen we know is a late breaker, so therefore he stayed ahead of Charles Leclerc during the time being as well. And back in 2016, we all know what happened. It was Max Verstappen who won the Spanish Grand Prix, but that's not what I want to talk about. It was what I want to talk about is the contact down towards turn number 4, I believe it was, when Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton made contact going down towards turn number 4 because Rosberg had a really good start. Hamilton didn't have a good start because back in that year, in 2016, Hamilton's starts were dreadful. But here we go for the Spanish Grand Prix. Right, so that's got away. We are underway here for the Spanish Grand Prix, and it's round 13's go, 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 as Robbie Jacobs now is side by side with Finn Hertz, who did not get the best of starts, as we head down towards turn 1. Robbie has the inside line. Will he be daring on the brakes? But look at this kick Sauber getting a better launch on the outside, and Robbie Jacobs is still side by side with Finn Hertz as they go wheel to wheel in towards turn 3 and turn 4. Finn Hertz remains in the lead of the Grand Prix. Look at this, the Ferrari's getting swamped. Here comes Lucas up the inside of Fireblaze. Nice move. They make contact. They tag wheels. Lucas and Fireblaze still remain in battle as we head down towards turn 5 and go. Eric stays ahead of Ivan, but Fireblaze is up into P3 as he defends because he was getting to get swamped by those two behind after having massive overspeed. But so far, a clean start. The Aston Martin goes wide. Bushy Bush, unfortunately, goes wide towards turn 6. Has to relinquish the place towards Geitekas as Geitekas is up into P11 after a difficult qualifying place. Oh. Mike is ahead of F1 Shaw. There's contact, and Mike is almost in a spin, but F1 Shaw saves him. Otherwise, he would have been a full spin indeed. But they're going side by side. I think they need to end their battle because they're going to break the DRS. So Mike has to give up for the time being and play the long game, because if he doesn't, the gap will be over 1 second, and we know what it's like to lose the DRS around here. But it is lap 2. Finn Hertz leads the Grand Prix, but Robbie Jacobs is hot on his tail.
Indeed, problems for Octavia, Stefan and Tim Boyd. They all had a poor start. I think Stefan went off in turn 2, so that's why he's all the way down there. Octavia seems to be replacing his front wing, so must have sustained some sort of damage during this lap. But a dream scenario for Finn Hertz. Looks like he was under threat for a while from Robber in turns 2 and 3. But did it all around the outside, had the better grip, and was able to just pull in front of the Haas driver. But we know they're probably going to be swapping around multiple times with the DRS on the main straight. Fireblaze held on to P3 after going wheel to wheel with Lucas, Erik, just in P5, Ivan. Geitekas, he's the first one on the hard compound tire. The entire top 10 is on mediums, and it's Geitekas on the hards. What he needs to do now at this stage is stay with these top 10 drivers. That's going to give him the best chances of winning in a good result, as his teammate McTimmy is going off track, spinning around as he rejoins and finds himself into the barrier. So reset the track, and McTimmy down to P18. Not a great start to his race either. So as we enter lap 3 of 33, Finn Geerts in the lead, but Robert will have the DRS as Finn Geerts sets a fast of the race. Here comes the Haas driver with the DRS. He's going to pull to the outside, and Robert takes the lead of this race on lap 3.
Lawrence gets himself a 3-second tap already, like he did in the last race at the Canadian Grand Prix when he cut the corner. But to be fair, him and Kevin went side by side, hence why they cut the corner. But Mike has got ahead once again of F1 short, so those two seem to be scrapping away quite a lot. We saw on the last lap where Lucas was under massive pressure. Eric and Ivan were essentially pushed him through the corner in turn 12 and 13, telling him to get a move on. Timmy unfortunately has left and retired from this session. Octavia has rejoined in P19 after his moment as well, unfortunately. Whatever happened to him, he is down in last place, in 18th place, once he overtakes the retired RB driver. So it is Robbie Jacobs then who leads this Grand Prix. Remember back in the Silverstone Grand Prix when it was Eric versus Robbie for the win, it was an Aston Martin 1-2, but Robbie just missed out by a few hundredths of a second there as well. I don't think Robbie has won a Grand Prix yet this season. He's been very close. He won in the sprint race No, he has won a Grand Prix, sorry. It was at the USA Grand Prix, so I thought he did when he defended for Eastbound, because Eastbound picked up that 10-second penalty during the safety car period. But here comes Finn Hertz now. Look at that, with the battery of the DRS just swoops past, and Fireblaze is struggling to stay in the DRS range of the top two then. He needs to stay in the DRS range to try and boost his chances of winning the Grand Prix. I noticed in other league races where Fireblaze does struggle in terms of saving battery. I mentioned the K1 joke towards him at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix when I said he doesn't have any K1 left. So he does struggle in terms of battery. He is 9/10 away from Robbie Jacobs, so he needs to find some pace in that Ferrari to try and stay in touch with the top two. Otherwise, be a sitting duck, and therefore the guys behind will be able to capitalise.
Fireblaze, he's right behind Robber. He's well, almost a second behind the Haas driver. Under threat from losing out to that DRS. He's already over a second now. I think Robbe and Finn Geerts are just about to break away. You have to tell me if I'm lagging, because I am experiencing quite a bit of lag on my screen right now. But Finn Geerts is in the lead ahead of Robbe Fireblaze. He is 9/8 behind. Is that going to be enough though to get him back into the DRS range though? I think he's just about managed it, but it's really laggy on my screen. But Lucas, he's right behind him as well with the DRS. On to lap 5 we go. And Mike is out in the final corner. What has happened? No, he's not. He's just rejoining back. So a bit of lag as Robert retakes the lead on lap 5. Ruben ahead of Ivana as well. He's up into 6th position.
Yeah, I think you are lagging just a bit there. It's not too bad. I can still hear you. You're still fluent. So it's just a bit of a lag spike from now to then. So yeah, when you said F1 shorts or Mike lost it, he didn't. So it's all good for the time being. But yes, Robbie and Finn Hertz then, they're concentrating DRS, making sure that the guys behind don't have an opportunity to overtake. But the DRS being so powerful and the straight being quite long, it is sometimes an occurrence we see that the guys behind do get swamped with no DRS, and we see that the guys from first go down to 3rd or 4th. That's how powerful the DRS is. But so far, Finn Hertz and Robbie are doing a really good job so far. They're going to be working together in the first stint, because that's what you want to do with the guys behind, because there's absolutely no point fighting with your rivals in the first stint, because you want to stay in the DRS, of course, and we know the mini compound tyres do drop away quite quickly as well. So once that happens, when that stage hits, when the tyres start to fall off, once you feel the degradation starts to really impact the surface of the tyre, that's when it can get very difficult indeed. That's why the DRS is so important. And now Finn Hertz is back in front of Robbie Jacobs again. But what about Fireblaze? Is he going to stay in P3? Or is he going to try and challenge for first or second? Because he can do that. But P3 could be a good place for him, because he has the DRS at the back of Finn and Robbie Jacobs. But Lucas will be telling him to get a move on as well. So these guys done in P4, P5 and P6. I try myself to... Oh, look at Mike. He's side by side with a van. He's going to go for it down at turn 4. Let's see then. Can he get past him? He can't. Ivan's still there. Will he switch to the inside line? No, because Ivan has that covered. As Mike locks up going down towards turn 5. You can see him locking the rear end of the car. Causes rear stability as well. But yes, what I mentioned about these guys in this DRS train, they can't go anywhere. So what they're looking to do is try and force the guys ahead of them to overtake. As F1 Shorts gets past Mike, so Mike has a moment out of turn 6 and turn 7. He must have clouded the curve or something, and now he's got kick for company as well as he goes down towards turn 10. But no moves being made so far. But like I mentioned as well, I've been in this situation before when I've been stuck in the DRS train like this. So what you try and do is you try and force the guys ahead of you to overtake the others, and that's the way you do it. But sometimes as well, it's best to stay in the DRS train later on the Grand Prix. It's just you're in a really precarious situation, because it's essentially you just following the guy ahead of you for such a long time. As Robbie Jacobs and Finn Hertz then swap places. In my opinion, the top 3 have the say in the race. The top 3 have control over the Grand Prix, but the rest are just stationary and stuck, and therefore have no opinion about it and have no say about it, unless they're really good at finding ways to overtake. Because sometimes it's not all about DRS, what it is, but if you could overtake in places like turn 5, let's say sniggle on the inside, because that's what people do. They look for other ways to overtake and try to get themselves further up the order.
So that is certainly the case in this race. As Ivana has picked up a 3-second time penalty. So pretty much Robbe and Finn Geerts controlling this race. They've been swapping around for multiple times now so far. So the McLaren driver, unfortunately, already with a 3-second time penalty on lap 7. That's very early on with such a long way to go. But Robbe and Finn Geerts controlling this race. Fireblaze has done a great job from getting that gap down to just under 0.4 of a second now, as Mike and F1 Short still fighting it out, and he sends it up the inside, and the Ferrari driver is finally ahead of the Mercedes of F1 Short. So Mike Back up into P8 as the McLaren of Van is a massive moment coming out of turn 12 as he had a big tank stop, but he managed to save the car, but the gap now towards the top 6 is 8 tenths. So you have to use a bit of EOS to close that back down. It's an opportunity for Mike to potentially try and get past as the two leaders swap positions once more. We see Kick getting past everyone's shorts, and now Lawrence as well. So everyone's shorts falling down the order a bit as the McLaren up the inside. They go wheel to wheel into turn 1. Lawrence now round the outside. He goes on the hard compound tire and into the top 10. Good move from the McLaren driver as Kick is almost pushing Mike through the corner in turn 3. Is he going to have a go? Not quite, as he stays behind the Ferrari driver for now in P9. And Ruben has now lost the connection to the top 5. 1.1 seconds. Can he get that gap down, or is it going to reduce to a 5-way fight?
He needs to get that gap down now while he has the chance in these slow speed corners, mid speed corners. Because if he doesn't, then he'll lose the DRS. Did I hear you laugh there, Milan?
No, it probably was a bit of a weird sound, but
I thought you just laughed there. But anyways, we head down towards turn 10 we go. So I don't think Ruben is hovering around the 1 second point. Lawrence is ahead of Kick. They're going side by side now. One of them's on the hards, the other is on the medium compound tyres. Maybe the hard compound tyres could be better. Although we see Lawrence have a massive slide. He's off the track. He can't find the grip. The car constantly oversteering as well. But here we go. The top, look at that in the background. That's Ruben going off the track there. He has the DRS, so he needs to use the battery. Try and get himself under a second. But here comes Robbie Jacobs. And Fireblaze once again stays in P3. Probably playing the long game so far. So not making many moves on the chessboard there. Kick and Lawrence going side by side once again. F1 Shorts is right behind, and can Kick stay ahead of Lawrence, or can Lawrence get ahead for the time being? Here we go, down towards turn 4. You can see the battery on Lawrence is a minimum. He has literally no battery left in that McLaren then, so he might have to think about saving up and try and not fight Kick for the time being then. Just try and focus on saving battery, because that's very important. In the background, Bushy Bush goes slightly wide, and for some reason, he's a ghost. So that's a very, very odd time to be a ghost, because he made no mistakes there for Shorts, and all of a sudden he's been ghosted. Has he left the session? I don't think he has. He looks like he's very weird indeed this game. But anyways, heading back towards the front. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think he had a moment on the exit of turn 5 where he lost the car, and I think he went just a little bit too slow, and that's what ghosted him. He's still very much in this race. He's back now to a solid, I could call it, but he's a B12. He's losing. He's been losing positions left, right, and center. As Van and Mike, I'm having to lag again, but Van is into the pit lane. Early pit stop as Finn Geerts takes lead of this race. On lap 10 we go. Very early from the McLaren drive to pit, as we'll have to do 24 laps on a set of hard compound tires. He comes out in clean air though, down in P16 to potentially go for a big undercut to the car's head, because he was losing the connection to the top 5. It's the gap towards Mike. It's 1.6 between Aston Martin and the Ferrari driver.
So Mike leapfrogs Ruben. Ruben struggled to stay in DRS range of the top 5 there. So Mike is doing everything he can to try and get himself a DRS range. Ruben is struggling. You can definitely tell who is very, very good at managing tyres, especially at this stage, because you can see that other people like Ruben and the van are struggling on the medium compound tyres, as Ruben there definitely sliding through turn 9. You can see that the medium compound tyres are starting to reach the end performance then. So it's all about managing tyres, making sure you don't overdrive the car, making sure that you can adapt to the car as well, especially when it's sliding terribly. The tyre wear is quite brutal around here, not as much as the recent years of course, because back in 2013 the tyre wear was so bad. I remember people doing 3 or 4 stops back in 2013. As here we are, Mike is in the pit lane, then he realises he can't get himself in the DRS range, so a pit stop is imminent for him as he goes on the hard compound tyres. As we've got a spinner there, it looks like it's the RP driver or Stefan who was gone for a spin after making a very early pit stop indeed on lap 2 after his problems. As we continue riding on board with Lucas, who seems to put pressure on Fireblaze. Lucas is frustrated being stuck behind the 3, but it's time for undercut territory. So I wonder, will the likes of Eric, will the likes of Lucas think about undercut the top 3, try and get themselves up the pecking order and be the leader of the Grand Prix? Lucas looks like he got more grip in terms of Fireblaze. Fireblaze has kept up, so despite in the early stage of the Grand Prix struggling to keep up with the likes of Robbie Jacobs and Finn Geerts, he's kept a lot of battery in store as well. So Fireblaze looks comfortable so far, and there's a spinner. It's his mum and Nick who just came out of the pit lane, and Lucas is off the track. He takes a shortcut, and he has reached on and down in P5, so he must have gone off the road at turn number 9, and that has cost him big time as well. Unfortunately for the Williams driver, a huge blunder and a detriment to his race. He might think about pitting right now because he has to. He has no choice.
Yeah, he's down outside of the arrest range, and he is going back into the pit lane. So the Williams driver, unfortunate error there, and he's going to have to go into the pit lane from a medium compound tire. He needs to find an undercut to the cars in front as Fireblaze finds himself wheel to wheel with Robbe up the inside of turn 1. They can't fight too much, so they might lose connection to Finn Geerts, but they're still going far regardless. So Robbe stays ahead just now, but he's 1.2 seconds now behind the Kick-Sauber's Finn Geerts, who he is just still ahead. It's Fireblaze in P3 with Eric right behind him as well. Lucas, where's he going to come out? Is he going to be ahead of this train? It's hard to tell. He's going to be very tight with Mike on the outside into turn 1 Evan as well. Lucas is behind both Mike and Evan after his pit stop. So that just shows the undercut of the cars who have pitted earlier, obviously. But Mike and Evan both ahead of Williams, who was just inside the top 5. So I think that's a sign for the top 4 to come to the pit lane soon, as Fireblaze runs a bit wide, and he's going to have Eric up his inside now as they go wheel to wheel into the braking zone. The Aston Martin on the inside, the Ferrari on the outside. Eric with the better traction, but he's still got Fireblaze right there on the inside here. Don't want to go side by side into the pit lane. Fireblaze, better grip on the inside. He is going to just stay ahead in P3. And are they going to dive into the pit lane? Yes, they are. Finn Geerts in the lead by 1.5. Goes into the pit lane. So does Robbe. So does Fireblaze. So does Eric. The entire top 4 into the pit lane. It's going to be interesting to see where are they going to come out compared to Mike, Evan, Lucas, and all the ones who have pitted already.
I don't think you saw, but Bobby Jacobs scraped the wall on the pit lane entry there. We've seen plenty of people crash in the pit lane entry. Was it David Coulthard? Did somebody crash in the pit lane entry in real life? Was it David Coulthard or someone like that? I think it was Australia I'm talking about. Back in 1996, I think it is, if my memory is correct on that one. But I don't think it is. Stefan then is up into P5. You can definitely tell the power on the undercut now. Stefan is effectively... No, he's not. Sorry, it's not an undercut because Stefan pitted a long time ago. F1 Shorts has set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, so I'm surprised that Finn Geerts, has rejoined the P4. I thought Mike, Lucas, and Evan would get the undercut, but turns out not to be. So Stefan's in the middle and a roadblock, and Robbie Jacobs needs to get past Stefan as quick as he can to make sure he doesn't lose the DRS towards Finn Geerts, because they lost the DRS in the first stint because Robbie Jacobs and Fireblaze went side by side. I'm surprised, because both of them are in a party together. I was with both of them, telling a very funny story indeed, but obviously it's inappropriate to say a stream. But yes, those two in a party together. I'm surprised that they communicate and keep the DRS towards Finn Geerts.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that they were fighting out. The lag is really getting quite bad. I think I might just have to restart everything and hope it fixes itself. So I think I'm just going to do that. So you have to take over for a few minutes while I try and get my lag fixed.
No worries, mate. So right on the board with Robbie Jacobs. So Stefan is still in the way, but as long as Stefan's keeping tabs with Finn Geerts, it should be alright. But obviously Robbie Jacobs needs to clear him now to make sure he keeps up with Finn Geerts. Stefan pitched a long time ago, of course, after sustaining damage in the early parts of the Grand Prix. Had to do a very early pit stop, and hence why he's on 30-lap old hard compound tyres. But you saw the undercut being very powerful, as we saw Lucas rejoin. Oh, Stefan almost lost it out of turn 5 there, as I think the kick's out. But yes, he might get the DRS in the back of the Haas. That could help him pull away. If you remember the first stint, I didn't get to mention this, but in the first stint, Finn Geerts had the DRS on the main straight, whereas I think it was Robbie Jacobs was fighting with Fireblaze at the time. You can definitely tell that Robbie Jacobs is desperate to get past, because you can see that Stefan is losing grip. So Robbie Jacobs, Fireblaze, Kick and Eric need to get past as quickly as they can to make sure they don't break the DRS and allow Finn Geerts to pull away. This should be his biggest opportunity as we make our way towards the final corner. Robbie Jacobs, he needs to get past the Haas, the Alpine, but the Alpine is using battery, but he's quite low on the battery, of course. So here comes Robbie Jacobs now with the DRS wide open. He puts himself into P5, crucially still in the DRS of the Sauber driver in front. So he's back and he's caught up again. That was a very important moment, because you never know, Stefan could have lost. Oh, contact with Evan and Lucas. They make contact in towards turn 3. What on earth happened there? Two contenders out of this Grand Prix. I say out contending for the win or the podium, but they're still in the race. I'm not quite sure what happened there between those two. But what a dismal race, you got to say, for both Williams drivers. Lucas as well. Lucas is out of the DRS range. He must have got caught up as well. So both Williams and McLaren out of contention, unfortunately. Lap 15 out of 33, but almost halfway there into the Grand Prix. And ETA Lawrence, and here comes the Aston Martin now, looking to make a move. Who is that? It is Eric, looking to go to the inside of Fireblaze, but not to be. Eric has been stuck behind Fireblaze majority of this race. He just can't seem to get past the Ferrari. I think the Ferrari is playing a very good game here in terms of defending from Eric and using the DRS on the back of Robbie Jacobs and Vin Hertz majority of the Grand Prix as well. But you can see Stefan, who has a wobble on, out of the final corner. He's derated. This should be Fireblaze's big chance to get past the RP driver. As here we go, Fireblaze pulls to the left-hand side, overtakes the RP with no troubles. The kick salver of Vin Hertz has been relegated down into P4. So it's a fight between these three again as the train has been brought back together. The guys are returning back to the original positions once the pit stops have been sorted out. So ETA Lawrence and Heighton Cass, you can definitely tell that that name is a very difficult name. I don't think an English person, a typical English person, can say it properly other than me. Kick is side by side with Stefan as he's putting him under massive pressure. Stefan is defending, but not to be, because Eric has the better hardcore power tyres. Oh, he goes off the track. Oh, there's contact with Mike! Mike's in the gravel! And he will not appreciate that whatsoever as Mike tried to go around the outside, and he's lost a lot of time now. He's lost the DRS towards the guys in front, so Stefan being a roadblock essentially towards the guys ahead. But to be fair to Stefan, he had no option really because he was off the track, because I think it's just one of them things really when somebody's on older tyres versus new tyres. It's just one of them things, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it is an unsafe release, unsafe rejoin if I have seen one, and that's put Mike pretty much out of contention. Fireblaze had set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, and Vin Geerts is going to retake the virtual lead of this race as he gets ahead of Robert. But Williams drivers now with a penalty as F1 shorts with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is going to hurt his chances of getting a good result tonight. Robert now relegated down into a virtual second place. Fireblaze right behind in P3. Eric is also still within DRS range. And then it's Stefan still just ahead of Mike. And I can imagine Mike will not be very happy while trying to overtake the Alpine. He's going to stand up the inside of turn 5. He is a bit of contact between the two. He's barging his way through ahead of the Alpine. And he's going to get ahead this time without any contact. Or at least without putting himself into the gravel. Mike up at the P7. But the damage has already been done. The gap is 1.5 seconds as Avan is out of the race. He has retired in pit lane, unfortunate. So that's our third retirement. I think Team Boy's not even driving himself either. As Lawrence, the other McLaren, pulls into the pit lane at the end of lap 17. Geitenkaas continues on, but Lawrence into the pit lane.
I think Lawrence might get held up. Let's have a look because there's been a glitch in the past. Oh, he's so lucky to get held up there. Has he been held up? Oh no! That glitch has appeared as he get held up in the pit lane by a few seconds then. Oh, what a shame for ETA Lawrence there as Robbie Jacobs retakes the lead of the Grand Prix, the effective lead race, because Geitenkaas hasn't pitted just yet in first place. A safety car will be doable for him if anybody wants to cause one to regain. So, Mike is off the track. These two are continuing to fight. Mike should dispose Stefan very easily, but he can't seem to do so. Now he can. So Stefan came back at him for some unknown reason. You expected Mike in the middle and last sector to pull away, but they glued together. Remember on the last lap when Mike dived at the inside, made contact with Stefan? That's like Kumu Kobayashi on Nico Rosberg. I think he lost his wing as well, did Kumu Kobayashi. He finished, I think, P5 during the Grand Prix after chasing down Sebastian Vettel, who had a penalty as well, due to using DRS on the main straight when Michael Schumacher clashed with Bruno Senna down towards turn 1. Then Michael Schumacher took pole in Monaco. Oh, what could it have been? Because Michael Schumacher took pole in Monaco, then he had to serve a 5-place grid penalty for a crash with Bruno Senna. His last podium was in Valencia 2012 where Fernando Alonso won the Grand Prix with Kimi Raikkonen in P2 and Michael Schumacher in P3 when Sebastian Vettel had an alternator failure. Here comes Vin Geerts then side by side with Robbie Jacobs as he puts himself into P2. Romain Grosjean also had an alternating failure too in 2012 at the I think it was the Spanish Grand Prix. What's it called? Valencia. There we go. Valencia Grand Prix. That was the last race in 2010 when the Valencia Grand Prix came up. I remember when I think it was who was the time? I think it was it Rubens Barrichello who won there as well in Valencia? His last Formula 1 win for Braun. No, it wasn't. It was Monza. Sorry. So he won in Valencia and won in Braun as well. And I remember Luca Badoera making his debut in Valencia as well. What a terrible, terrible debut it was.
might just be one of the worst Ferrari drivers of all time. Another statistic you want to hold as a racing driver. Was definitely a mistake of getting back into the F1 cockpit back in 2009. But Robert, as we look back at this race, he's right behind Finn Geerts. Geitenkaas is still staying out, so I'm not sure if he's hoping for a safety car or yeah, he's still continuing on at the end of lap 19. Still going strong. The gap is around 10 seconds to the next car behind him, which is Finn Geerts in battle with Robert, Fireblaze and Erik. At the moment it's a 4-way fight for the race win until Geitenkaas pits. The gap towards Mike is already going to over 4 seconds. And to be fair to Stefan, he's still kept within DRS range, despite being on 18 lap old hard tires, but he's going to be under pressure from Ruben as Robert is going to get ahead of Finn Geerts into turn 1. Ruben gets ahead of Stefan, and now it's up to 2 Williams drivers. A very disappointing race so far for the Williams drivers, both with a penalty down in 9th and 10th. Definitely not ideal as Douwens finds himself wheel to wheel with Bush DT around the outside he goes. He's up into P11, he is on a brand new set of mediums and he needs to get a move on if he wants to get any good result out of this race. He's up to P11 now, and his next opponent will be Kick in the Williams just ahead on 9 lap old hard compound tires. As his teammate Lucas goes round the outside of Stefan. He's up to P8. F1 Shorts has unfortunately retired in the pit lane as well, so that's essentially 5 retirements now, which very unfortunate for the man returning to SDN after his win in Belgium. Geitenkaas, is he going to go into the pit lane? Now he is on lap 20, so that will be 13 laps for him on a set of mediums, but he will be dropping down the order quite a bit. We're going to be quite close to Laurens, but Laurens had that pit stop glitch, but he's been on these mediums for quite a few laps now, so he should be able to clear the Vizsla Barbie. As Finn Geerts now takes the race lead on track as he passes the Haas of Robert once again.
I'm just wondering, is when is Fireblaze going to make his move? Oh, the Mercedes in the path of these drivers, and that could have been very nasty indeed. That's F1 Shorts. F1 Shorts said he's retiring from this race because he has a headaches. So get well soon, F1 Shorts. Take some paracetamol, not quite sure what it's called in the Netherlands, but take that,
yeah,
and hopefully you'll be better soon. I know it can be a bit difficult staying at the screen sometimes. So when you left the session, Milan, for context, what happened to Ivan, Kick and Lucas? All 3 of them, I presume, made contact at turn 3. Lucas and Ivan were in the wall, and Ivan retired from the race. That's why Kick, Lucas and Ivan have been separated from this battle, and they've been segregated from the battle. Look at Eric right behind Fireblaze as well, going down towards turn 12. Eric must be so frustrated. He spent most of this race being stuck behind Fireblaze. He's looking to make a move. So Fireblaze has played it cautiously, staying in P3 and trying to give himself the best chance of being on the podium / be a contender for a win. So he knows later on in the Grand Prix, being P3, to challenge the top 2. He hasn't made his moves just yet. He hasn't gone for. He's not even gone for P2 just yet either. As Robbie Jacobs puts himself in the back of the lead of the Grand Prix. That's been the story throughout this whole race. These two are swapping places, but Fireblaze is waiting for the right places. Ruben up the inside of Lucas, and Mike has lost 2 places. And there's contact, and he's almost in a spin. It's Lucas there. Luckily saves the car as he was connected towards Mike's tyres. Now we're headed down towards turn 4 we go. There still remain wheel to wheel, just Lucas and Mike. Which one of these two can get ahead? Mike has the outside line as he used the ERS in the midway of the corner. Down the inside he goes. Kamui Kobayashi, a type move on Jenson Button back in 2012. But Lucas just stays in front for the time being. We didn't even talk about one thing either. The Williams, remember what happened to them? It's about 13 years ago. What happened?
Stefan just throws straight into the wall, and there's your safety car.
A safety car has been deployed in this Grand Prix, which means that Lawrence joins not the session, but that's not what I want to say. But where is Lawrence so far? In P11.
Yeah, he left. Yeah, I don't know, disconnected I think, but Stefan once again causing a safety car. I'm just going to say, but how has this guy not been given a race ban?
Yeah, I think he caused a safety car back in Canada as well, which changed a lot of things during the end of the Grand Prix. Yeah, I remember Stefan as well caused another safety car elsewhere, so Stefan, unfortunately, cannot be doing that no matter what the circumstances is. Did he just drive straight into the wall? Just in the wall?
Yeah, he had a moment with, I think it was Kick and Geitenkaas in turn 4. He got sent into the grass, and then just shortly after, he just fully turned his car into the wall on the right-hand side of the track, out of frustration, probably.
you might want to talk to Eastbound what happens when you cause safety car on purpose, because of course Eastbound did that back in Hungary, because it was unsportsmanship like behaviour. Eastbound knew it, of course, and he learned from it. He calmed down a lot. I'm surprised he did that because Eastbound has been really good even under massive pressure. He's managed to stay the pressure really well. But in Hungary, he just lost his temper. I think we all have it. We all have it some days where we all lose our temper and things go wrong during the Grand Prix. But the main thing is though to control that temper. If you're very angry and you don't want to take part anymore, then go retire in the pit lane, because I'd rather you retire in the pit lane than interfere with the race and race fix the race, if that makes sense. So I know how frustrating it can be sometimes, but sometimes you're going to think rationally and not emotionally.
Yeah. You have no control over what happens in the race, but you have control over your own reaction, and that is the thing that is important around here. But if we look at how the race looks right now, Geitenkaas, after all of that, now finds himself back into the lead of this race. He pitted, of course, 2 laps earlier, so he didn't need to pit again. Surprised to see Finn Geerts. He's the only one to put on a brand new set of softs. Not sure how long the softs last, but he will have to do 10 laps on them, while everyone else around him has put on a brand new set of mediums, except for Geitenkaas and Laurens. They have stayed out. So Laurens as well in a McLaren, despite being already 5 laps on these tires, has decided to stay out under this safety car. We'll have 10 laps, probably we'll have to do 1 more lap behind the safety car. It's going to be a sprint towards the end of the race after a safety car, which was not meant to happen. But it is here regardless, and it's going to give us entertainment, that is for sure.
We'll see indeed then, and it was obvious that Geitenkaas was going to pit again, because there's no point from medium to medium. He might as well take the lead of the Grand Prix. And let's see, can Geitenkaas finally get his first win of the season? But the problem is that Robbie Jacobs, Finn Geerts, Fireblaze, Eric, and all the guys behind are on a brand new set of the mediums. And Finn Geerts, remember he retired in Q1 and Q2 quite early, and he sacrificed a set of sock up tyres. But do you know what? 11 laps. Sorry, not 11 laps. Let me do my math very quickly, real quick. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 laps on the set of soft compound tyres is a bit of a stretch. We saw, of course, the first stint, people doing about 11 or 12 laps in the mediums, and they went off. So I'm quite surprised that Finn Geerts has chosen the soft compound tyres, because I have a lot of information about the Spanish Grand Prix. Did the same thing, unfortunately. I thought the soft compound tyres were a good tire to go on, but they just died towards the end. In fact, they died about 3 or 4 laps. Their peak performance was well and truly gone. So I'm a bit concerned about Finn Geerts. Has he thrown away the race? I'm not quite sure, unfortunately, but we'll see. So I think Robbie Jacobs has a big chance to win the Grand Prix, I think, in P3.
Indeed he has, but he will know that Finn Geerts... Yeah, I just saw that as well. Drove onto the grass while warming up the tires. Very lucky to not spin out there. But like I was saying, he has a good chance of winning this race, but he knows that Finn Geerts will have the tire advantage. And if he doesn't get past Robbe and he can clear Laurens and Geitenkaas, he might still have a good chance of winning this race. Because Geitenkaas and Laurens, they have nothing to lose. They're fighting for this race win as well. And Finn Geerts is really the only one to have the tire advantage. But we're already going in at the end of this lap. 9 laps to go.
Indeed then. So he must have chosen the harder strategy. Oh, Laurens has spun! He's in the gravel! And now, this is going to cause a massive pile-up. I think we're okay for the time being. Geitenkaas retakes the lead then, as he becomes the effective safety car leader. Laurens lost traction, the exit of the final corner, in the gravel here again. And now, we're racing down towards turn 1. Look at this, a roller car scrap going on for P5 here. Eric versus Laurens versus Ruben. And Eric gets himself into P5. He's been stuck behind Fireblaze majority of this race. Ruben, though, just stays ahead of the Williams. It almost put his nose in a place where it shouldn't be. And now comes the Ferrari, who's off the track. Gets squeezed there. And now he's side by side with Lucas in towards turn 4. The safety car, Max off the track again. Here comes Lucas around the outside.
3-1.
And they make contact. 3-1 will never go well. And you can tell the consequences of that being shown, unfortunately, between these guys. And look at this, Ruben right behind Mike once again. They're in the wall! And they make contact. And yes, this race has gone from bad to worse. Very chaotic indeed, but we need to keep an eye on first place. Mike's race has unfortunately gone from bad to worse and ended with a retirement on the track and left the session in rage. A lot of things has happened during the course of the Grand Prix for him. Let's take a breather. because it's Haas who still leads this Grand Prix. My voice is going because of saying his name. And the VSC has been deployed because I think Ruben in the pit. Ruben has spawned unfortunately in the wall. He's stationary.
Yeah. He was frustrated as well. He hit the wall on purpose. I was riding on board with him. Obviously frustrated with that incident he just had, but I think he is partly to blame for that as well. So, yeah, just straight into the wall. Another neutralization, but it's all kicking off already on the first lap after the safety car restart. Still got 7 laps to go. Yeah, Geitenkaas in the lead, but wow, it's getting messy out there.
It is indeed. Then I wanted to mention something about a few laps ago when I talked about Williams. I've not even mentioned it yet because I think I've got too carried away with the F1 history over the past. But yes, Williams' last win was, of course, 13 years ago with Pastor Maldonado. It was a very weird race because Williams, they were competitive, got to give credit to them. They did finish P5 a few times, were inside the top 10 with Maldonado. Remember back in Abu Dhabi as well when he finished in P5. Australia, he crashed. Bruno Senna finished in P6, so they had quite a few good results over the course of 2012. But the Spanish Grand Prix, Maldonado did not take pole. It was Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis Hamilton got disqualified after, I think, because of fuel being underweight, then Maldonado took pole. I think Alonso took the lead in towards turn 1 because Maldonado couldn't defend. But it was expected. I don't think Williams were expected to win that day because we expected Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull to win that Grand Prix. But of course, when it came to the third stint, Maldonado was absolutely flying on those hardcore pod tyres, and he beat Fernando Alonso due to pure pace, whilst Bruno Senna got taken out by Michael Schumacher in towards turn number 1. Then Pastor Maldonado went on to win, of course, and that was a fantastic day for Williams. Williams' only last win was with Pastor Maldonado in 2012. Their last podium was at the Belgian Grand Prix in 2021. The race we all forget, of course, because it was a 3-lap race, and I think a lot of people on that day, including you, were very disappointed because you paid a lot of money. You paid a lot of money to go there, but only saw a safety car.
Yeah, it's not a race I will forget, unfortunately, as I was sat there in the rain for around 8 hours and not seeing any action. But that is indeed the last podium of George Russell. But yeah, ever since 2012, they haven't really been in a position to fight for race. Well, they were competitive in 2014, but not quite. Couldn't beat the all-time dominant 2014 Mercedes. But well, I said it was a first safety car, but it's actually a full safety car. So we got 2 safety cars cast on purpose in this race, and is just lovely. But we've got 6 laps to go, and we've got quite a few drivers who have pitted. Lawrence is one of them. So is TVHNL, Dominic, Lucas, and Ruben have all pitted onto a brand new set of softs. So we will have around 5 laps remaining. And this race has really been shuffled around with these 2 safety cars.
Geitenkaas has been brought back into play. He ran a long stint on the hardcore power tyres. Imagine if Geitenkaas stayed up for a few more laps because he pitted, I think, 2 laps later when the first safety car came out. But this man was in no man's land in the first stint. I really do want to see him win a race. He's a very good character indeed, but it might be a bit difficult winning a Grand Prix, especially when Robbie Jacobs has been very competitive. And Lawrence says, do I believe that, Lawrence? I'm joking. Lawrence says uncalibrated pedals, hence why he spun during the first safety car restart in the final corner. So that's a very unlucky there for Lawrence. He's still in P9. He picked up a penalty at the very early stage of the Grand Prix. Is it a 3 second? Yeah, he's still got a 3 second penalty because I thought it was 6 now. But he picked up a penalty in the on the first lap or 2, like he did in Canada last week. And yes, like you said, we do have a second safety car. We did have a VSC turned into a safety car like it was in Canada, because the second VSC was a safety car, same here in Spain. I'm not quite sure why that glitch is there because it says VSC, so we expecting the race to be neutralised for a few seconds, but we lose a few laps. This could be good for Geitenkaas because the laps are reducing, which means he can have more chance of trying to fight for a win. I really hope he gets the podium at least because he deserves it after a difficult qualifying session. Robbie Jacobs also deserves a win too, but I want to see Goat Cheese win a Grand Prix. He hasn't won a Grand Prix yet this season. He hasn't won. That's the translation, by the way, for Geitenkaas for those people who aren't Dutch. So I really want to see him win a Grand Prix because Robbie Jacobs has won back in I think it was USA Grand Prix when he defended against Eastman at the time, and Finn Hertz who hasn't won a Grand Prix yet this season, but he is a reserve driver, a very quick driver indeed. His last race at Silverstone. The safety car is in at the end of the lap, and I think the safety car has done some due diligence for Finn Hertz, because there's been 2 safety cars, and his set of soft compound tyres won't be too faded away towards the end. It won't be as bad as they should be without the safety cars. So the safety car is coming in towards the end of this lap, and once again, Kass will lead them away, and Robbie will be on the back of his tail. Robbie has been fighting for the lead throughout the whole race. He does not want to lose the lead whatsoever because he's been fighting for it. But Kass, I dare say, got a bit lucky on the safety car, but sometimes you need to look to come your way to win Grand Prix. It's all part of the sport. As we make our way now towards the final corner. Let's see when he decides to go. And now he will decide to pull the trigger. There is about 4 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. And you can see Kass will be under pressure. But can he maintain the Grand Prix as we head down towards turn 1? The RB driver had no idea he'll be in the Grand Prix. He's expected to try and hunt those guys down on the medium compound tyres he was going to be on anyways. But Finn Hertz is right behind Robbie Jacobs as we head down towards turn 4. Any moves? Not yet for the time being. Robbie Jacobs is defending and attacking at the same time. You can see the flashing lights on the back of the cars telling you that they're derating. That gives them a chance to recharge the battery after using it all on the straights as well, trying to get past each other. In the background, AMS Kick overtakes Bushy Bush for P6, and in the background is Lawrence defending against Stefan for P8 and P9. Obviously, I'm not saying Lawrence's name right. I think it's Lawrence. That's his name in Milan.
Yeah, Laurens, I would say in Dutch. As we see, Finn Geerts almost having a look at the inside of Robin in the background. Fireblaze and Erik fighting it out, and also Laurens now trying to go all around the outside. So he's still defending now against Bushy Bush TT, and he successfully does so. Stays in 7th place, but Erik having a look at Fireblaze. Finn Geerts having a look at Robben, but DRS will be enabled onto this lap, and there's a safety car again. And that is because Stefan is in the wall again. Oh, yeah. Not sure what happened there, but we got a 3rd safety car, and what is this? 5, 6, 7 laps. Godverdomme indeed.
And look at this, they're overtaking the safety car. So these guys are overtaking the safety car. So I thought for 1 second that they've caught up to it. Nobody's pitting, as usual, but I think Stefan will be in big trouble towards the Grand Prix. He calls in 2 safety cars. I'm not quite sure if this one was purposeful, so I think footage is required. But this man will be in trouble. And I dare say, I think he was back in Hungary when he made contact with somebody, didn't he? In qualifying. I don't think it was his fault at the time, but yes, Stefan has been in a lot of trouble recently. I thought at the Belgian Grand Prix he was shining quite a lot when he spun. When he spun out of Stavlo, and I definitely remember that race because, of course, I got posted on TikTok with my voice, my reaction as well. That was a very good reaction indeed.
Yeah. The best of the best. But wow, 3 safety cars then. And this is great news for Geitengaas, because he can just maintain the lead at the race start, and he will only have 2 laps, because the safety car will for sure go in at the end of lap 31, because I think it's the limit of how long the safety car can stay out. So we'll have 2 laps of racing, and I think we will have 1 lap of DRS, but won't be on the main straight. So that's interesting, as Bushy TT is putting into the pit lane very late in the Aston Martin, drops down to P12, going to put on a brand new set of softs, which is an interesting decision with only 2 laps to go, as he was in a top 7 position, I believe. So, well, 2 laps to go. Is there anything more that can happen in this race that already hasn't? I'm rooting for Geitengaas to win this race, but well, knowing myself, probably just jinxed him, but I hope I don't, because this is probably his best chance all season to finally win a race. He's ahead of Robben and Finn Geerts, who know they're going to be aggressive. They want to get past as soon as possible. But Geitengaas also knows that this might be his best opportunity to finally finish on the top step of the podium.
This man has been second best toward Eastbound, but Eastbound's not here tonight, so this could be a big opportunity for Geitengaas. Obviously, as an English speaker, I got to say it is very difficult saying the name constantly. You guys can say it easily because obviously it's your native tongue, and you're used to saying it, of course, with the G. As the safety car is in at the end of this lap. As an Englishman, I think I'm doing a really good job of pronouncing these names, because obviously the majority of these guys here are Dutch, some are Belgium, and I think Kik is Austrian, isn't he?
Nice Dutch, but he used an Austrian flag.
Never mind then. So the safety car, I think these 3 safety cars have been a blessing in disguise for Haitikas, because effectively he got 2 laps to defend and 1 lap of DRS. Can Haitikas win the Spanish Grand Prix for his first win of the season? This man has had multiple P2 so far, but instead of Wiesmann behind him in the Haas, it is Robbie Jacobs behind him in the Haas. So he's definitely got a Haas behind him, but it's his lap 32, the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. As we head on the main straight, you can see that Haitikas is defending for his life as we head down towards turn 1. No moves being made as here comes Lawrence down the inside of Kick as he puts himself into first place. Lawrence, sorry, because Lawrence is a girl's name in England. But as we head down towards turn 3 we go, there is 1 lap only. Can Haitikas, defend for the last lap of the Grand Prix? He'll be saving battery in the middle sector and the first sector, of course, as well. Oh, a bit of a tap there from your Robbie as he hit the back of the RB. But here comes Finn Hertz now, side by side. No, he doesn't. He lets him go. Otherwise, I think that they'll lose the chance of winning the Grand Prix if they did go side by side. I think Haitikas would have dearly loved for Finn Hertz to go up the inside. But all the battery will be used on the straight in attack and defense mode as we head down towards turn number 10 we go. The final lap of the Grand Prix is heading our way very shortly, and we're still looking for Haitikas' first win of the season. 4.6 kilometers left to go on lap 33. Can he do it? I think the DRS is enabled as we make our way towards the final corner we go. Let's see there. DRS is not enabled. Yes, it is right now, but not on this straight. And here comes Finn Hertz, gaining on Robbie Jacobs, but not close enough. I think Haitikas has defended this. He has. As we head down towards turn 1, but there's still a chance to overtake at turn 10. Robbie Jacobs needs to be close down towards turn 9 to get in with the DRS open on the final lap in turn 10, so that's 1 spot for Haitikas to be worried about. As long as he keeps it nice and clean, he should be okay. As long as he's got a bit of battery left, he should be okay. But my heart's going for Haitikas because, oh, there's contact between the Sauber and the Haas there. Oh, there's contact, and in the wall. Both of them are in the wall together. Unbelievable stuff indeed. And out of the race goes Finn Hertz and whoever else was involved in that contact too. So Haas has been saved. Robbie Jacobs is sliding to the corner as Lawrence is out of the Grand Prix too. That happened so quickly. I have no idea who else was involved as well. But they both had the race now. Rubens up into P5 as we see this multi-car scrap in towards the final few. Oh yeah. Back towards the front anyway. Let's go towards the front. Let's give this man a round of applause. He's been trying so hard recently to get his first win. But here at the Spanish Grand Prix, Haitikas gets his first win in Spain. Congratulations from getting knocked out in Q2. Mega job. Unbelievable indeed. I cannot believe what I just witnessed, especially with the safety cars as well. But Haitikas finally gets his first win. Well deserved. Very happy for him. I don't think he expected it because he was outside the top 10 majority of the Grand Prix, but the safety car helped him to get himself in the lead of the Grand Prix.
Wow, finally he's done it. Finally he's on the top step of the podium. I think I may have heard my voice there on the final lap, but wow, finally Haitikas, he needed a bit of luck with the safety car, but he held on that final lap crucially ahead of Robbo when everything kicked off behind. I was looking with all the sorts of onboards on the final lap, they're all going off left, right and center. But not for this man, Haitikas. Finally getting the win he's deserved this season. He is your winner of the Spanish Grand Prix. Robbe, second place on the podium. And Erik after that, finishing in P3. Fireblitz was getting shuffled around to the final lap as well. He's on a P7 at some point, but he has finished in P4. Will close down a little bit on Isbrand, but not as much as you would have liked. But Haitikas from 12th on the grid is your race winner. Incredible.
Oh my goodness, indeed. I didn't expect Spain to be this chaotic as it has been, but definitely be chaotic. As Stefan, the man who was last and caused the 2 safety cars, still finishes in P5 towards the end. Fireblaze did not get a podium out of all that, despite being in P3 majority of the Grand Prix. It was Erik who took the final spot on the podium. Wow! And Robbie Jacobs, he was P2 majority of the Grand Prix, traded DRS with Lawrence, but that contact with Fireblaze, Erik, and who was the time? Yeah. Just so many things went on during the Grand Prix, and Finn Hertz end up in the wall together. It was just unbelievable stuff indeed.
Yeah, chaos at the end of this race. It started off so calmly, but then when the 3 safety cars arrived, it got progressively worse, but not for Gaitaka as well into him. But well, must have been one of the most chaotic Spanish Grand Prix I've ever seen. But that will see the end then of today's race. And if we look at the calendar, as I always struggle to find it in the Discord, but we've got only 2 races to go in this championship. The gap has been narrowed down between Eastbrand and Fireblaze. Eastbrand still has quite a comfortable lead going into the final 2 races, Las Vegas and Interlagos. And Las Vegas will be a sprint race as well, so plenty of points still up for grabs. Anything can happen. And as we have seen today, it usually does, with quite some carnage. But wow, what a race, and what a championship fight it is leading up to.
Not the race Fireblaze needed. Do you know what, Fireblaze? I think he was a bit too conservative during this Grand Prix. He never really got his elbows out until the final lap when he made contact with Lawrence there, unfortunately. But yeah, Fireblaze was just hanging back the whole time. I don't think he had much choice really when the second and third safety car came out. So it was a quiet race. Fireblaze wasn't moving anywhere, just staying stationary in P3 and P4 majority of the time until Eric got him. And my God, there was a lot of contact on the final lap as well, going down towards turn 5. So next race, as you said, is the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Me and Milan have experience commentating in last. Look who it is! Look who it is! He has joined the party. Yes, please. I should believe.
Oh.
If you don't mind, I can't speak Dutch. I can, but I can't. I'm not fluent. Do you mind doing it in English?
Yeah. So, can talk English. What?
Just silent.
Ja.
Ja, top. Jamie. Jamie, I don't know if you know, but you are muted right now.
Sorry about that. I must have hit the mute button by accident. Yeah, so Gas, you don't mind doing the interview in English, do you? If you don't mind, of course. Are you here?
Oh, in English, yeah.
You don't mind doing it, do you, in English?
Yeah.
Right then, so Gas, how do you feel for winning the Spanish Grand Prix tonight? Because you started at the P12 and it didn't look like for any certainty during the Grand Prix you were going to be up there. I know in the first stint you were stuck in that midfield and you had nowhere to go. Then all of a sudden things looked up for you during the safety car. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, I was actually happy with every safety car because I didn't have the tire advantage or wing advantage. If someone would overtake me, I would be gapped by him. So I was happy with every safety car and with no DRS at the end.
Yeah, that's very. Oh, sorry about that. Continue.
No.
It's a very important point you make because you had 2-3 safety cars. Did you think without those safety cars, without that third safety car, I believe, I can't remember how many safety cars were out there today, but do you believe that you could have defended against Robbie Jacobs and Lawrence without those safety cars?
I think not, but maybe with help of Finn with the softs, it could have been easier. But I don't know how the race would went. Maybe a top 5, but not a win for sure. With every safety car.
You must have been so grateful that the last safety car came out because obviously, like you said, there was no DRS, and it's taken you a long time to get a win this season, and to do it here in Spain after the odds going against you, like your confidence must be skyrocketing right now.
Not really, actually, but okay.
And Getikas, I'm going to hand you over to Milan. And Milan, you can ask the questions in Dutch. You can have a Dutch interview. I'll just listen.
Nou ja, great.
Moet ik dan ook in het Nederlands antwoord geven?
Nee, ik stel de vraag in het Nederlands, geef jij in het Engels antwoord.
Is goed.
Ja, Ja, top gedaan eigenlijk. Ja, je ging eruit in Q2 en dan sta je nu ineens in P1. Dat had je niet verwacht van tevoren.
Ja. I think...
Je mag gewoon Nederlands antwoorden hoor.
Toch wel?
Ja, dat was gewoon was een grapje.
Spreek Nederland.
Oh ja, ik denk dat ik anders maximaal misschien een P8 of zo in de race zou zijn met waar ik ook startte. Ik had ook zeker niet de pace of zo om naar een top 5 of zo te klimmen.
Oké, nou ja. Mooi resultaat dan met 3 safety cars. Natuurlijk Stefan die weer, die veroorzaakte weer eens eentje, maar goed. Uiteindelijk sta je er wel hoe je er moet zijn, dus ja, mooi gedaan.
Nou.
Thank you.
Is that it? Is that the interview's done?
Yeah.
I was expecting more questions, but lad, I wanted to listen. I wanted to listen to you guys speak to it. ask more questions.
Nah, sorry to disappoint you, mate.
It's fine. Well, goed gedaan vandaag. Geite gas. Well done today, mate. You did a fantastic job. And good luck for the next race in Brazil. I mean, Las Vegas, sorry. Las Vegas.
I think I'm not with Las Vegas because I'm going on vacation. I think I'm gonna be racing again at Brazil.
Oh, it's Brazil after Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I see. That's why I got confused. But anyways, dankjewel. And see you on Brazil, mate.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Well, to end off a chaotic race here in Spain, it is now time to go to Las Vegas with the 1.9 kilometer, 1.2 mile strip, and we'll see what happens there as well. Milan Langer, once again, mate, an absolute pleasure to have you alongside me. Dankjewel, once again.
Thank you, as well. It's been great commentating alongside you in this season, and I can't wait to do it again for those final 2 races. But that is indeed in the end for tonight's race. 2 races to go. Who is going to crown themselves SDN Season 5 World Champion? Let's find out the next 2 weeks.
Eastbound could potentially win the championship next race if you can, but we'll see. But we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now and take care.